Welcome to the Rock Dungeon. And to our song for May, which is called Why Do the Words Let Me Down? Now, this is one of my favourites. I wrote it about 20 years ago. And it goes something like this. Why do the words all let me down? Every time I look in her eyes, it's like my tongue's been paralyzed. I get the strangest kind of feeling deep inside, and there's nothing I can say, no matter how I try. This love is hell, but I can never tell, and the silence is killing me, 'cause I forget my vocabulary. Whenever she's around, I start talking like I'm 3. So I'll have to bide my time, but deep down I believe she could be mine, if I could only think of the lines. Whoa, yeah, ba 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 ba, da da da. So every day I try to talk to her, but I stutter and hesitate, because it seems I can't articulate my feelings, and I know there's no escape. So I guess she's left me speechless once again. La da da ya, da 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 da. So there you go. Now, I don't remember too much about the writing of this. I think it came very, very quickly, but I do remember the genesis of it, and it came from a slightly unusual place. Now, this is Basement Jaxx's first album, Remedy. It is, in my humble opinion, an absolute masterpiece. It's got everything from Latin, dancehall, funk. It's the sound of Brixton in 1999, and I absolutely adored this at the time. And there's a tune on here, which is actually one of my least favourites on it, but the fourth track, it's called You Can't Stop Me, which is kind of this sort of, got this great groove to it, and it's built over a sample, a sort of soul stomp, Motowny type sample. I've looked up on Who Sampled, which is a great website for finding out which sample's used on what, and I can't find anywhere what this sample is. It's sort of this generic thing, and it sort of had this octave kind of leap, which sort of went something like. And so I remember just vamping along to that at home on the piano, and I think the chords just came out of that. It just go. And it just flowed from there. And I'm very, very pleased with the way it turned out, because, at least harmonically, because there's all these sorts of weird chords in there. So, for example, I do my usual thing of a minor seventh, changing to the major seventh, a semitone down. But here, for some reason, the melody over the top went to an A. So this is E minor 7 to an E flat major 7, and then for some reason I put a flat 5 over the top. Every time I look in her eyes. It's just a weird place to land. And then later on, I somehow think that the way to go from C to G is to go via F sharp, which is another little common chord sequence that I do. So there you go. It's kind of underneath this kind of simple exterior, there is this weird jazzy chordal structure underneath. And that came about totally by accident. I've actually been getting into jazz a lot more recently and trying to learn more jazz harmony. And I found that the more of that I learn, the less creative I am, because I'm constantly thinking about what chord should come next, where should I go from here, what chord should go underneath this melody and underneath this particular note at this particular point. And I just need to let go of that. I need to just let it flow like it did when I was in my early 20s and not worry about these things. Lyrically, I'm not a mad fan of it lyrically. It's deliberately simple. And this sort of sweet, innocent song about not being able to talk to a woman. As you may have noticed with this and last month's song, there is a sort of theme building here. But it doesn't really go anywhere. It sort of doesn't tell much of a story. It just sort of says, I can't talk to women, I can't talk to women, I can't talk to women, which is odd and a bit disappointing. But I've written it now. I kind of like some of the words in it. There is a really nice, one of my favourite things that I've written, there's a really nice vocal harmony section in the middle. And I've also written a string part for it, which I'm very, very pleased about. So at some point, I am probably going to do an isolated video of that because I'm really pleased with it. I haven't written for strings for a long time, not really since university, so I'm quite pleased that I'm still able to do that. Anyway, I hope you like all those bits. Now, this is the middle of May rather than the beginning of May. As I explained in my video about Millie, I've been faffing around doing that. But this is actually a lot further along than you would think. Just because I didn't do the video at the beginning of the month, I've actually been working on it in the meantime. As with many of these tunes, a lot of the music has actually been recorded already. So I've actually done a pretty good rough mix of it already that I'm quite happy with. I've had to faff around with the drums a little bit, but that's good. And the other day I had to redo the bass part because I've been playing with my fingers and it was just sounding all sort of wumpy, and which is a word. And I've changed it to playing with a pick. Did it in 3 takes, which is unusual for me. Usually I take about 35 at least. And yeah, that's actually sounding a lot better. So all I need to do now is get back in the wardrobe, sing some vocals, finish mixing it, and it's done. So I actually think I can probably do that in a couple of weeks. It does mean that I probably won't be able to release this until the middle of June, and it might be that that becomes the pattern. It might be that I finish the recording by the end of the month, and then the release is in the middle towards the end of the next month. But if that's what we end up in, that's what we end up in. And sorry if there was a clonk, because I just clonked my microphone stand there. So I hope you enjoyed that song, and I'm hoping you're enjoying the ride so far. Please stick with us, and let's see where we end up. See you in the next video.